Hey everyone, Katie and Sergeant Steele here, and today I want to talk to you about the Tempestus Scions and their command squad. Now this is a unit I have put off doing for quite a while, and that is just because I was never happy with my hobby level on these models. I've repainted them 3 or 4 times. This is my latest color scheme, and I think I'm very happy with this one. Now, they're not entirely finished yet, but this is battle ready with a couple of them pretty close or already finished. And so that's good enough to do our unit review. And so here I'm debuting my brand new color scheme for the Scions. But enough about my hobby. Let's dive into the unit. We're going to talk about 2 units today, though. We're going to talk about the Scions and we're going to talk about their command squad. So we're going to switch up what we're talking about partway through the video. But in general, their stats are the same. So let's go through it. Scions are movement 6, toughness 3, 4-up save, 1 wound, leadership 7, 1 OC. With one exception. When it comes to the Tempestus Scion command squad, the Tempestor Prime is 3 wounds. So that is something to keep in mind. And so it does work different than like a Cadian command squad or a platoon command squad, where the character leading that command unit actually has more wounds in this case. So just an interesting thing to kind of keep in mind. With that, pretty basic stat line. They have 1 additional armor compared to regular guardsmen, same leadership, same movement, same toughness, right? So nothing special. Now notice they're only OC1. So they don't have OC2 like a lot of the other battle line units would, such as Krieg, Catachan, Cadian, and so forth. So here we are dealing with just OC1. Now in these units, you can take them in between 5 and 10 models for the Scion squads. The command squads come in 5 model units. Now, let's talk primarily to start with about the Scion squad here. For its loadout, you can have a sergeant character basically here. So that is your Tempestor, and then you have your Tempestor Scions. The Tempestor comes stock with a chainsword and bolt pistol. Mine here is upgraded with a plasma pistol and power weapon. Absolutely love the look at that, and I've given them the beret. I think it's really cool. The rest of them are equipped with hotshot las guns and knives. Now, for your Tempestor, you can also do a power fist, a plasma pistol, or a power sword instead, with, you know, like one of those combinations I have here. I think those are really cool. For your regular troops, though, this is a really cool thing you can do. Up to 2 models for every 5 can have their hotshot las gun replaced with a special weapon. And you have the choice between flamer, grenade launcher, hot shot volley gun, shown here, or a melt-a-gun or a plasma gun. Now we'll get to those weapon profiles here in just a moment. So as you can tell, they have their own special unique guns. Not only the hot shot las guns, but the hot shot volley guns as well. So that is part of what makes them so unique. Now, the other thing you can do is take one of these and replace their hotshot las gun with a voxcaster and a las pistol, a hotshot las pistol. I don't have any actually modeled that way. Mine are older, back when you could put hotshot las guns on them. So I'm going to have to redo my models a little bit to make that work, and didn't catch that before I started repainting them. Now, what makes this unit special? We've talked about war gear, we've talked about some of the cool things you can add to them. Let's talk about what makes them special, and then we'll dive into their weapons a little bit. So I want to do this a little bit backwards. But first is their ability. It's called Stormtroopers. Each time a model on this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If the target of that attack is an enemy unit within range of an objective marker, you can re-roll the hit roll instead. So this unit has built-in innate reroll 1s. Then, for everything they shoot at on an objective marker, you get reroll all hit rolls. this unit is already hitting on threes. They're BS3 across the board with all their weapons. So basically, these are guaranteed hits with all of their weapons. So now that we understand their ability, I want to talk about their weapons, right? And this is where thinking about their weapon profiles is really going to help think about the application of the Scions, beyond a few other utility things I'm going to talk about here. So this unit also, right, its weapon loadouts are flamers, that's pretty typical of the guard, grenade launchers, typical of the guard. But let's talk about that real quick because I don't often do. Frag is a blast weapon, 24-inch range, D3 shots with blast. Hitting on 3, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. So good against, low armor, moderate toughness, infantry, really, is what that's good for. Crack is 24-inch range, 1 shot, hitting on 3s, but then again, innate rerolling 1s, maybe rerolling everything. Strength 9, -2, D3 damage. So a crack grenade launcher could be a good way of just getting a few wounds off onto a model. Then we have the hotshot las gun. So this is the standard weapon for the Tempestus Scions. It is also 24-inch range. It is rapid fire 1 shot, ballistic skill 3, strength 3 -1, 1 damage. So it's a las gun with AP -1. That's basically what it is. Then we have the hotshot las pistol. Same thing, it's a las pistol, but with AP -1. Then we have the hotshot volley gun. So this bad boy right here is rapid fire 2, 30-inch range. So our rapid fire range is 15 inches. 2 shots, up to 4 shots with rapid fire, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, -1, 1 damage. This is what helps you kill things. This is a great anti-infantry weapon. It's going to give you more shots. It's got better strength, equal AP, and it's really going to get the work done. Then we have melta-guns and plasma guns. Those are the same as they are on all, Imperium models, pretty much, except for some of those fancy ones the Space Marines have. So that's the weapon choices. And with that, that means you could really load these out to do a number of different things. Anything from taking out infantry to taking out vehicles, and right, so for every 5 models, you can take 2 of these, but no more than duplicate of 1 for every 5 models. So in a 10-man unit, you could do 2 melta-guns, 2 hotshot volley guns, so you're good at both like anti-armor and anti-infantry. You could do plasma guns, 2 plasma guns, 2 hotshot volley guns, so then you could just be wrecking infantry with this unit when it comes down to shoot, especially taking off enemy on the objectives. Now, notice what I just said there, coming down to take them out, because that's one thing I have skipped mentioning thus far, and this unit has deep strike. That's right, this is one of our only options for deep striking, and that is really, really awesome. And that's one of the great things about why these are still important compared to the Kazarkin, right? The Kazarkin are pretty similar to Tempestus Scions. Both come out of a much older unit that no longer exists in the Astra Militarum. The Imperial Stormtroopers, which are now gone, and the Kazarkin were the Cadian version, the Scions were, the basically the super elite version, just for the Astra Militarum in general. So with that, think about that. You can load these things out any way you want. They can deep strike onto the battlefield. They can be in rapid fire range. Their weapons are 24 or 30-inch range besides the specialty stuff like meltas and flamers. So they're going to be in rapid fire range, and they're going to be devastating the enemy units on the objectives especially. That's my favorite way to run them, actually. But before we dive into that too much more, let's talk about the command squad and what it does. So once again, we have 5 models. We have, right, we'll pull those up front here. and to talk about those a little bit. All right, so here at these models, we have the Tempestus Prime, that's our commander with 3 wounds. And then you have just 4 models, and they come with a hotshot lasgun. Then you can swap out any number of models to have any special weapons. It is absolutely wild. The only caveat is you can't have more than 1 of the same special weapon. So 1 Melta, 1 Plasma, 1 hotshot volley gun, 1 grenade launcher, 1 flamer, right? You can just have 1 of each. You can also take a regimental standard. It works the same way as the one on the platoon command squad and Canadian command squad. It gives you +1 OC. You can take a Voxcaster, which gives you 24-inch range to issue orders, and you can take a medikit. Now, I don't actually have one done. Instead, what I have is a plasma gunner here with the medikit and the symbol scraped off of it because I was using it for Kill Team, and I thought it was kind of narratively fun to model it that way. So you can take a medic also, gives you 6 of Feel No Pain, just like medics would in a command squad, right? Now, so this unit is great to be paired up with, or at least close by, to your Scions. You could attach them, you could leave them separate. It's really up to you and how you've built your list and how you want to run your list. What is your strategy for this army? For example, say if you had 3 units of 10 Scions, well, that's pretty chunky units are going to be dropping down. You could then attach a command squad, so you could get a 3rd Melta gun and a 3rd plasma gun in, or a 3rd hotshot volley gun in, or grenade launcher into your 10-man unit. That would be pretty amazing and would give you a lot of firepower. Where if this unit is attached, it does have its benefits. When it's attached, we need to talk about this. So, Tempestus Prime. While this unit contains Tempestus Prime, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit have sustained hits 1. Okay. So think about that. You take plasma guns and hotshot volley guns, and you got your hotshot las guns, and you drop this unit down, say a 5 or 10-man unit, within range of an enemy unit on an objective. You're re-rolling all hit rolls. You're hitting on 3s, you're rolling all hit rolls, and getting sustained hits on a 6, generating more hits. And the same thing applies to like your Melta guns and stuff if you had to shoot enemy armor. And with the re-roll hits, you're fishing for 6s, right? You're trying to, you're re-rolling those 1s and 2s, you're trying to get those 6s and really deal some devastating damage to your opponents. And that is where pairing up the command squad with your Scions can be very beneficial. Same with taking the regimental banner. I know it's not often a popular choice, but say if you wanted to drop in and then you fail to take out the enemy unit and you need to out OC them and you want to charge in, well, having that +1 OC can mean everything. That could be the difference between victory and a failure. If you don't have enough OC to take that objective away from the enemy. So I think the +1 OC can be very beneficial, right? A 5-man unit becomes OC 10, and with the command squad attached, well, this right here is OC 20 total. If we had a 10-man unit of Scions with a 5-man command squad, then right, we'd be OC 30 with all the models we'd have in it. And that's really good. I mean, that's a lot of OC. You know, a lot of armies are going to struggle to compete with that. Even Space Marines only go up to 10-man units, and they're OC 2. So you're going to take the objective from them. So that's kind of a good way to think about running them and why you may want to buff them. And same way with, like, if you take the medic in here, right, and you give them that 6 of Feel No Pain with their, 4-up armor save, that's going to make them even more resilient. Now, you can run them separate. I like mine together in order to get those synergies. But if you're in a matchup or you're playing a mission and you see that you're going to need to scramble across the table to capture the corners or capture objectives, that may be when you decide during your declare reserves and leaders and bodyguard units and stuff that you leave this unit separate. Because with the Voxcaster, you're still going to be able to issue orders to this unit. You're just going to lose the benefit of the sustain hits 1 or the 6-up feel no pain or the +1 OC or whatever other benefits you've done with your war gear. And it still works because it becomes mission specific. But that's one of the things I really like about the Scions. That right there. So I've talked about using them several different ways. Capturing objectives, shooting models away, kind of jumping in to do various things to achieve victory points in your missions, so on and so forth. They are very versatile and they're rather resilient in how you build them. And you're usually going to try to drop them in, if you can, into cover, which is then going to give them a 3-up save and so forth. So they're really one of the most effective units in the game. Now, because they have all this, they are a little pricey per model, especially compared to a regular infantry squad or Acadian squad or a Krieg squad or Catchin squad. They're going to be almost double the points. Now, I never discuss specific points in my video because they change all the time. But in general, I don't see that trend changing for the Scions. They're always going to be very expensive because they have deep strike, innate rerolls, then the command squad gives them sustained hits. They're just a great unit, and that's okay. We need an elite unit, and they fill that role. And they also fill our mobility needs very, very well. In this way, you can just put them in strategic reserves right off the bat, early game, and then drop them in wherever you've made a hole or your enemy's made a hole for you to squeeze in and start shifting around the power of the board. Now, unfortunately, they're Astra Militarum, they're T3, and they can't die. They can die just by being blinked at by demons, and so you got to keep that in mind, and you got to make sure that you're putting them in situations where they're going to score you points or survive until they do score you points. I also think this is an okay unit to just deep strike in and sacrifice. Just get the points, take them in 5-man squads, so they're cheap. You drop them in, you grab an objective, or you threaten a backfield, or you get in your opponent's deployment zone, or you get in a corner, and then they get shot off the next turn. But you scored. And that's the goal of the game, right? To score points, especially when you're playing match play, or maybe capturing special objectives in a narrative mission, like getting Blackstone fragments and Pry Nexus. This is an amazing unit to do that with. And this is the unit I would recommend doing it with. So overall, I am very impressed with the Scions and their command squad. I'm very impressed with their flexibility. I'm impressed with what they're able to do for us. And I do highly recommend them. Now, the models are not my favorite, which is why I've struggled for so long, I think, painting them. And I wanted a scheme that was different from my Acadians and my Krieg and my Vestroyan and so forth. I wanted something that was truly unique for them, and I just struggled making it. But now I've come up with something I enjoy, and I'm liking them a lot more. And the way I've kind of kitted them out a little bit with all their color and everything. But they have new models coming out very soon in Kill Team, which may be its own data sheet. When that releases and I paint those up, I will review that unit in its data sheet. But we will get to that. So they are getting some new model support, and I think that's really great. And it looks like you'll be able to even take those new models and turn them into these models. So I don't know if these ones are going away at the time of recording this video. There's a lot that we don't know about the future, but we will see what happens. But I think there's new ones. They have jump packs. They look really cool. I'm very excited for all of that. I think that's it for today. So I highly recommend this unit. Please get some of these. Please run them in your card armies. You're not going to regret it. They're a ton of fun. They look cool in general. They're not my favorite models, but they do look cool, and they're just a blast. And playing for fun is what this game is about. So definitely check them out. Definitely try out the models and see what you think as well. All right. So that's it for today. As always, have fun wargaming, and remember, Cadia stands.